Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the March 11th edition of Coffee and Coin. I'm going to spend about the next 25-30 minutes just going over some of what I see in the markets. Let me get the right screen up here. What I see in the charts and what we can expect as options traders. So let me get the right chart up and then we'll get into it. All right, here we go. So I am not able to look at the charts and monitor the chat. Let me just do one more thing. I want to drop this link in the mentorship chat. But let's get into the charts. Sunday, I made a video on TradingView for members of the mentorship. And I'll show you how to access my videos. I've started to make a lot more videos here. So my profile, my handle is the Quantum Capitalist, and that video from Sunday is right here, first one. And in that video, I talk about this bounce that we are now seeing in the market. I give my rationale. I let you guys know what charts I looked at to arrive at my thesis for what I thought was going to happen. I thought that we would get the bounce yesterday, but now that I think about it, I have this Tuesday, Thursday strategy where it does make a lot of sense for us to be seeing this today. And so I literally can't make this up with my fib. I'm going to take my fib levels off. Template. But I can't make this up with my fibs. We consistently trade into this one fib level. And then it acts as support or resistance every time. And it is a powerful support or resistance. I will mention it. It's this level here at 5603. It is the 886 fib level. If you do not know how to use fibs or how to set up fibs, feel free to message me. I have a pre-recorded class, but I'm going to be doing a live class on it, definitely for people in my mentorship. But anyway, we consistently come to this 886 level and get a bounce or get rejected, whether it's support or resistance. In this instance, it is acting as strong support. We got 2 wicks, could not make it through there. And so as far as our targets now to the upside, I don't really expect, some people are expecting that this is going to be a sustained move or that the correction is over. I'm not quite sold on that. So some of the things I talked about in Sunday's video were like the great deal of divergence that I was seeing, the fact that we were reaching these fib levels, but then also when you go up to higher time frames, we were beneath our 50 moving average, which would typically mean we'll trade back up into the 50 and use it as resistance before we trade lower. So to give you an idea of what I think is possible and why I say, and this is kind of a repeat of the other day, the long and the short of it is don't get comfortable in calls today, because I talked about that 886 level on the weekly chart. Let me just put it back so you guys can see what I'm talking about. On the weekly chart, it's way down here at 52.79. So we could get into these much lower levels here based on what the weekly chart is saying. Our stochastic is still very bullish. And what has happened oftentimes in this scenario is when we're overbought on the monthly, we'll come all the way down to the 200. 200 is at 5011, $5,011. I do not think that that is out of the realm of possibility, although I'm not necessarily calling that based on what we see previous times that we've crossed below the 20 and the 50. It is certainly not out of the realm of possibility. And Q is basically the same chart. So yesterday we had some QQQ scalps. I gotta let my internet, I guess, catch up. But we had some QQQ scalps, we had some Baba shorts and some Walmart shorts, and I exited those and told some of the members of the chat to just relax. And so they maybe did miss a little bit of profit on SPY, but they certainly did not hold overnight, I don't think, and get caught up in what we're experiencing. So, because that's probably what we'll be trading again today, I've given you broader market. I think broader market, we're going to have a bounce back up to that 50 moving average on the weekly. And then we're going to decline again to much lower levels into 5,400, possibly 5,000. That's on NQ. I'm sorry, that's on ES, and NQ will do something very similar. But since we'll probably be trading QQQ today, let's look at what we have here. And so same setup, same exact setup, fib drawn from the same point on the chart. We have reached our 7-9 level, which tells me that we will trade up probably into the 200, 493. We'll be looking for that trade today. And then we will trade back off into probably that 486 level at a minimum. But again, if we go up to the daily chart or the weekly chart, and I draw a fib here, the two options. I could draw it here where I have drawn it, or I could draw it here. But either way, what you're going to get is you're going to see that we still have deeper retrace to go. So 458.66, but our 200 is all the way down here at 380. And kind of almost based on what Tesla and Bitcoin have done, let's look at NVIDIA, because that might be a trade possibility for today as well. Same thing. This chart is so similar to QQQ that is, I call NVIDIA the parent of the Qs. But we're at the 886 level, so I'm expecting a bounce here. I guess we got it. But again, that 200 moving average is not, it's a long way away, about another $50 away. And based on what Tesla has done, having given back about 50% of its gains, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Now, I expected yesterday, because Tesla was sitting right on the 200 moving average on the weekly chart, that we would see a bounce in Tesla yesterday. Let's see. What exactly? All right, they're up less than 1% in pre-market. I expected that we would see a bounce there yesterday, and we did not. And we're really still not seeing anything significant out of Tesla. So I kind of think that Elon's shenanigans might have finally caught up. And by that, I say Tesla's just not a good car manufacturer. But despite that, because of the cult-like following, it's kind of like Apple. And people just insisting on buying those horrible cars anyway, the stock has continued to do well. But I think that the chickens are coming home to roost in that regard. And so I'm going to go up to an even higher time frame and draw a fib to try to get an idea of just when Tesla might be done. Let's see. 86, 178. So it is possible that we can make it as low as 178. I will be watching the 212.25 level, and I'm going to write that down because unlike some of my colleagues, I can't remember that. So I will be watching to see what Tesla does at 212.25. But if we cannot hold that level, then we're probably going sub 200 down to about 178. So let me look at some lower time frames, because I will be looking for this trade. And if you cannot afford to or do not like to take the risk of Tesla because the contracts are too expensive, you can trade TSLL. It is really literally the exact, let's get on the right time frame, the exact same chart as you can see. Candles align. So can't trade Tesla. Tesla. If you can't trade Tesla, you can trade TSLL. The contracts are much cheaper Let's see what else I want to look at. I feel like we've done with the Qs. Oh, Amazon. Amazon was having some decent news yesterday. Let's see what their bounce looks like. I had jumped in an Amazon call, I think in this zone, expecting that it would continue higher on some news about their quantum computing chip. That did not happen. So now, looking at it again, I'm going to take a look at what has happened this morning. It doesn't look like, oh, this they made DeepSeek available on their Amazon Web Services. So that might be significant. But I am looking at Amazon for a potential call. It'll be brief, it'll be short. Where would I draw my fib here? It's a mess. I would actually, I'll go here with my fib, see what level we're at. We're at the 886 level. Okay. Get this perfect. We are bouncing off the 886 level. I really don't expect a whole lot of action. I will watch. I don't know. It's possible that the market could absolutely rebound from here and we could start creating higher highs. But I don't quite think that we're done. We do have some news coming out at like 10 or 10:30. Let me see what that is. JOLTS job openings for January come out at 10 a.m. So while it's possible that we'll just reverse here and everything will start creating higher highs, not quite sure that that's the case because I think that a lot of these companies, particularly Mag 7, have gotten severely overvalued. So what I'm expecting is that we'll get to that 200 moving average, which is at 199.09 today on Amazon, and then we'll be done. Maybe as high as up here in the 200, 205 range. But then that the sell-off will continue. That's if we even get this significant bounce. These candles are kind of flat, saying that we might just continue down. Something we have to watch at the market open. The other thing I want to just look at really quickly is Apple. So Apple is sitting right on the 200 moving average. And if you know anything about moving averages, you know that, I'm trying to see what I'm looking at. You know that the go ahead and delete that. That 200 moving average is really significant. It is a powerful support or resistance. And so the fact that we are stopped there is not a surprise, but let's see how that aligns with fib levels. We're bouncing off the 886. And so in the case of Apple, just want to get a higher time frame perspective real quick and delete some of this old stuff from 2020 and 2021. It's interesting. I have either a fair value gap or order block drawn down here at 191. So that is not really out of the realm of possibility for Apple. And looking at this weekly chart is making me want to move my fib here. And so that would mean that on this move from April to July of 2024, we retraced about 50%, and now we have hit the first profit target up here at 257. But what typically happens after that is a retrace back to the 50 or some deeper level. So again, what is about to happen, what I expect will happen, based on us being at the 200 on Apple, I don't think it's going to be a sustained upward movement. I think where Apple will bounce from the 200 moving average where we are to the 20 moving average, which is at 238.90. At best, it would be nice to see Apple get back up to that first profit target before we start to sell off again. But again, there is this fair value gap or order block. I can't remember. It's old as dirt. But from back here, that we might trade into, and even that is sub 200. That's at about 191. Let's see, between 189 and 193. So somewhere in that zone. So again, what I'm seeing overall is that I think we'll get a nice bounce today. Maybe we already had it in pre-market. But then that we will start to sell off again. So now, last night on our webinar, we talked about the concept of just having the patience to wait for your trades to play out. And so the question now for traders is, will you try to capitalize on the upside this morning? Or will you just wait patiently for us to return to the trend? Because in my opinion, we are in a bearish trend in most places. Badu's probably not the best example of that, but to me, we are in a downtrend or starting a downtrend. One of the other things that should have triggered you guys and could have triggered you guys was yesterday I saw an article come out that said something that it like implied that the sell-off had begun yesterday. And I'm like, the fact that they're saying is that furthermore acting like it just started yesterday is almost more than enough indication that it might be ending. So they finally said, oh, the market is selling off yesterday. And now today we see a bounce. Not surprising. So I think NQ will get to about 20,000-ish today. But these live videos will be shorter in the morning because Natasha is no longer with us. So I don't have anyone to banter back and forth with. But this is your opportunity to see what I'm looking at, get some perspective on the market, and hopefully get some trade ideas. I'm trying to see. Oh, the other thing before we go, I want to look at SMCI. SMCI had some positive news yesterday, followed by some negative news. But when I was looking at, I'm not tripping. Okay. When I was looking at the daily chart, to me, this is a perfect bullish setup. It may not pan out because of just current market conditions, but this is an ideal bullish setup. Sitting right on the 200 moving average. We have the extra support of the 21 moving average there. And we have had a deep, significant retrace, 86% of that move that SMCI made between February 11th and February 19th. But let's get some perspective on, see, when you look at a higher time frame, I would actually move my Fibonacci down there, just to see if those deeper levels that were standing out on other more established companies, larger companies, are apparent on SMCI. And I really do not see this going much lower. I can't remember. Let's see if I can. I think it might have been this $60 price target, and there was something else. U.S. tariffs hurt forecast. I think it might have been just that they got that $60 price target yesterday and the way the chart was set up. But this is something that I'm looking at for a more sustained bullish move. I have the 50 moving average at about 55. So $40, $50 calls possible. I did get in some $40 calls for April yesterday. So we'll see how those pan out today. Let's see what Walmart is doing, because I had called and taken $90 puts on it. I believe Friday. I called those. But so it's still dropping. And the reason is pretty obvious. I think we're just heading for our 200 moving average, which is at 82. So if you did take those Walmart puts, short of or ignoring our potential bounce that we might get kind of market wide today, there is more room to go on that put. As far as mindset goes, I want to just caution you guys about the propensity for traders to close the losing trades or close winning trades much faster than they close losing trades. So if you are in a winning trade, if you are in a winning put, as long as you have the proper amount of time on your expiration date, hold it, because I don't think that, oh, and you're in profit, hold it, because I don't think that any of this stuff is done dropping. Just peek at QQQ again on a lower time frame. It has flattened out. Let's see. Show on the 5 minute. Yeah, all of these are acting as resistance right now. So I don't even know if we will get more upside on some of this stuff today, but that will be determined by what its constituents do. And so let's just peek real quick. Not a great deal of, I think this is like the top 90 stocks in QQQ, and it hasn't been updated in 2 years. But for the most part, probably 2/3 of those are in the green. So I'm going to get out of here, spend the next 30 minutes or so talking to the members of our chat and preparing for the trading day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Facebook or leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks. Peace.